Happening now, the National Weather Service confirms a tornado touchdown here in Chautauqua County yesterday. The details coming up. Plus, Governor Andrew Cuomo is giving bars another mandate.
And we had severe weather yesterday, but now it is quiet. We've got some peaks of sunshine, but the humidity will be turning up once again. I've got the details next. The news at noon starts now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Friday. I'm Justin Gould. Our top story, a tornado touched down yesterday evening in parts of northern Chautauqua County, destroying a barn and scattering debris around the area. The National Weather Service in Buffalo tells us a crew surveying storm damage confirmed the tornado touched down on Barnes Road. They say specifics on the tornado's classification is expected to be released later this afternoon. The Weather Office is also sending crews to parts of Cattaraugus County to determine if this evening's second storm will also produce tornadic activity, and that the public's tips and information from trained storm spotters alike help them in the warning process. Tornadoes here in western New York are uncommon, and that, unlike the Midwest, the perfect environment must develop to produce storms.
We usually get like one tornado day a year. It's very uncommon for us to have the right environment. So everything has to line up perfectly. It's not like the Midwest where it's like a daily thing where you can get the right moisture and the right wind. The lakes kind of squash that.
So far, luckily, no one has been injured as a result of yesterday's storms. Let's now turn to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who has more on what we saw in regards to the damage that was out there. And Dakota, I got to tip my hat to you because you were on broadcast for 3+ hours yesterday afternoon, multiple times, keeping everybody in the know. And I think that's the biggest thing about tornadoes is how quickly things can turn. And in some cases, for some areas, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, and, all of the afternoon, of course, during the coverage afternoon, I kept telling you about how, there's a lot of people who don't take tornado warnings seriously because of all the wives' tales about, the hills and the Allegheny Mountains. Forget all that. Tornadoes happen everywhere. They're just less common here. And I would tend to agree that we tend to get about one tornado day a year across all of western New York. That's encompassing everybody. Here's some damage that occurred from this. This is a mobile home out in Randolph. And again, this is one of the reasons why we tell you you cannot stay in mobile homes during a tornado warning. You must leave and find more substantial shelter. You should have a tornado plan in place ready to go, so in that way when we have severe weather and there's a threat for at least a tornado, you can have your safety plan. But this is a prime example of why you don't stay in one. This is another prime example, a tree down on top of what looks like a mobile home. This came all the way from Napoli, and this is a viewer picture of the wall cloud of the tornado. This is coming from Silver Creek. This was the original tornado warning that was issued for that northeastern quadrant of the county going up into Erie County. This was the first tornado warning of the day, and it's really hard to tell if this is on the ground or not. And again, we have hills and trees here, so this is why storm spotting here is very difficult because we have hills and trees that block your view. So it's hard to tell if this is on the ground or not, but that is a distinct wall cloud lowering that was in Silver Creek. Now, again, as Justin just told you, the Weather Service has confirmed the damage was a tornado, but we don't know the rating yet or the path length or anything. The storm survey is still ongoing, and of course the Weather Service will obviously figure all this out, and they will give us all the details hopefully later this afternoon, which of course we will keep you updated right here. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you. Yes, we'll certainly continue to keep everybody in the know. And we just want to thank our viewers, too, for sending us in a lot of information. We really appreciate all the wonderful pics that we've been getting over the last 24 hours here, not even. And as always, we remind you, when you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. Just search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. That's the best way to stay up to date in regards to alerts. And when you can send us photos and videos, we're so appreciative of it, but please make sure you do it safely. Well, in other news, do you want Fries with that beer? That's the question bartenders and waitresses across New York State will be asking patrons after Governor Andrew Cuomo issued a mandate that no alcohol will be served unless food is ordered at the same time. All restaurants and bars statewide will be subject to these new requirements that they must only serve alcohol to people who are ordering food as well. Officials say the order is to help limit crowd sizes in businesses as New York continues to wrestle with reopening across the region and really across the whole state. Now, the move is the latest from the governor and follows a similar move this week by Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf. Well, consumer prices rose in June after 3 straight months of declines. Our Mandy Gaither has more on what this means for the economy.
As the cost of gas and food went up, the consumer price index rose 0.6% last month on a seasonally adjusted basis, according to new numbers released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The CPI measures what Americans pay for everything from clothing to appliances and is a closely watched indicator during a recession. The National Bureau of Economic Research said last month that the U.S. entered a recession in February. Experts say price increases are an encouraging sign of consumer spending. The increase was driven by a surge in the prices of gasoline and food, with much of the jump in food prices due to the rising cost of meat. Prices grew for beef and veal, as well as pork, bacon, and hot dogs. Temporary closures of meat processing plants help drive meat prices higher. But eggs, fish, and dairy have been getting slightly cheaper. Other items seeing higher prices in June: apparel, especially clothes for young children and men's suits, and home supplies like linens, window and floor coverings, bedroom furniture, appliances, and outdoor equipment. I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. One economics professor predicts consumer inflation will remain low for the foreseeable future, except for a few COVID-19 price shocks from items in high demand like food at home. Well, the Chautauqua Mall reopened yesterday to lines of people waiting to get inside and shop. Sharon Bennett, the mall's marketing director, says doors opened at around 11 a.m. after being closed for months due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
July 10th, when the governor actually said that malls and closed malls could open, people were knocking, banging on the doors. We felt terrible having to turn them away, but we just weren't ready. The mall needed to meet the requirements necessary by the mandate of the governor, and we needed to get everything ready inside to be safe for people to return, and also for our tenants to have the time to be able to prepare their spaces. So today we did have some people out front, lined up at every door as well, but it's nice to be able to now safely welcome them back.
Bennett says that Hibbett Sports, Shoe Department, Finish Line, and K Jewelers are just some of the stores that reopened for the first time yesterday. Additional stores are expected to reopen in the coming weeks. The mall is asking customers to please practice social distancing, wear face coverings, and not gather in groups.
We do have rigorous disinfecting and cleaning procedures that go on every day. And if for some reason a guest comes and they're not wearing a mask and they need a mask, our security team will be able to provide one for them.
Chautauqua Mall is now partnering with the Salvation Army and the Humane Society of Chautauqua County to show its support for the local community. Residents are asked to drop off non-perishable food and pet food items in a donation bin located at the main entrance from 9 to 4 daily. Well, now let's get a check of the comments and see how everyone's doing on this Friday. We thank you so much for joining us here and for trusting WNY News Now for your local news. Got to say hello to Laura. She says thank you for confirming the tornado. Well, Laura, we thank you so much for sticking with us for that information because we try our best pretty much 24/7 to stay on top of things here locally. And we really appreciate everybody's tips, too. And again, all the viewer photos and videos we got. Got to say hello to Joseph. Good to see Matthew, Terry as well. They mentioned they were hoping for some sort of touchdown in Jamestown, of course, away from people. And it seems like thankfully, a lot of times when we have these big tornadoes, they, and not big by any mean, I suppose, we still don't quite know the EF classification. Officials are expected to release that a little bit later on today. But luckily, in this case, it was out in the country. Got to say hello to Joseph. Good to see David. Joanna, happy Friday to you. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to see Rod, Charlie, Wendy. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and Matthew and Sean. Let's now turn back to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's standing by with a first look at what's coming up in our future weather. Mr. Hunter, it looks like now that the storms have passed, it's going to be a nice couple of days.
It will be a nice couple of days, and I have a trivia question, and if anybody can answer it. So when was the last time we had a confirmed tornado touchdown in the city of Jamestown?
Was it in the 1940s?
Yes, ding, 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 ding. Give
Look at
Justin a
me.
cookie. The 1945 Jamestown tornado. Now, there were no EF ratings back then, but based on the damage I've looked at from the very raw video and some of the grainy pictures I've seen, probably at least an EF3 based on some of the damage I've seen. But that was way back in the 40s. Last time
I got a
confirmed one came to the
disclaimer
city.
here
Yes.
real quick. Dakota
looked it
did
up,
not
didn't you?
give me the answer before that, just so everybody
Okay,
knows.
yes, we did not. We were playing it fair. Justin had no idea I was springing that question. But I think he has ESP. Because, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's a live look coming from the Warren City Bank. Just lots of sunshine out there. Temperature already up into the 80s. But how about rainfall yesterday? We had a deluge in areas. Cattaraugus, over 6 inches of rainfall. That is the official rainfall total from the town of Cattaraugus in Cattaraugus County. Of course, there was a flash flood warning issued for that. And again, we told you yesterday, if you're going to get a shower or a storm, it is going to be raining like cats and dogs. The near tropical humidity we had yesterday just poured a lot of tropical rain down in the area. Little Valley, close to 4 inches. Ishway in Cat County, over 2 inches. 1.73 in Silver Creek, 1.66 in Frewsburg, and Sinclairville, a little more than 1.5 inches. So this, I can guarantee you next week when the new drought monitor comes out, I can guarantee you that dry condition is gone. We've had so much rain, it is gone. And that's how droughts bust. They don't bust nicely. They bust with floods almost every time. 77 over 65 was the high and low today. 92 and 40 are the record high and lows for this date. So through the afternoon today, early clouds are going to give way to lots of sunshine for the afternoon. So get out and enjoy it. It's going to be more humid though. So make sure you keep that in mind. 79 to 84 with a northwest wind, averaging about 5 to 10. But the heat and humidity builds big O time once again as we go into the weekend and early next week. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you. A motion dismissing the second-degree murder charge against Jamestown man Carl Sorensen was denied during a preliminary hearing in city court this morning. Public defender Ned Barone entered the motion on behalf of Sorensen, saying that the defendant is entitled to a preliminary hearing. Chautauqua County 1st District Attorney Derek Gregory, however, says there's no basis for a dismissal. He adds that the District Attorney's Office is proceeding to the grand jury with the case. Now, Jamestown police charged Sorensen in the death of 23-year-old Brandon Holland, who was stabbed in the chest while walking along the sidewalk on North Main Street between East 4th and East 5th Streets at around 10:15 on July 6th. Holland was taken to UPMC Chautauqua Hospital, where he later died of his injuries. Sorensen was released on his own recognizance on the felony murder charge, but will remain in Chautauqua County Jail on a retainer. And a water main break on 3rd Street this morning has caused the Jamestown Board of Public Utilities to close a section of the street for repairs. Becky Robbins, she's the communication coordinator for the BPU, reports that the street will be closed from Prendergast Avenue to East 2nd Street while those repairs are taking place. Water service is shut off on 3rd Street from Spring Street to East 2nd Street. Robbins says water will likely be discolored for up to the next 24 hours. Well, coming up next, Jamestown Public Schools Superintendent talks with us about the trauma that some students might be facing because of COVID-19 changes. And later, we hear from Congressman Tom Reed about stimulus checks and how more are likely on the way. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. Jamestown Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Kevin Whitaker says there will be school this fall, but many details still remain unsettled. Whitaker talked with us this week to discuss the reopening plan. He says that the COVID-19 pandemic is causing a disruption to a routine that's gone on for several years with students. The superintendent adds that that disruption could be challenging for some.
Suddenly everything changed is the point I'm trying to make. And with that comes a kind of trauma. Some students are very resilient and that will be less traumatic to them. And some students are less resilient and have other traumas in their life that this magnified. So the most important thing when we return is looking at what we call TIG, trauma, illness, and grief, and its impact on kids and how we can support them in their return.
Whitaker expects to set up a committee next week to address gaps between what the state wants and what his district has. Well, there are more than 3.4 million confirmed coronavirus cases in the United States. That, according to Johns Hopkins University. And as our John Lawrence reports, some health experts are concerned about what will happen later this year when schools finally get back to session.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention makes it plain. Americans should wear a mask while in public.
Face coverings are the key. If you really look at it, the data is really clear. They work. We're not defenseless against this virus.
CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield says masks will be a main factor in the reopening of schools.
Face coverings are not a symbol, but they're actually a very important preventive intervention that can really block this virus.
Although cases continue to rise across the nation and some states have postponed or rolled back reopening plans, there is a ray of good news. A phase 1 study on a COVID-19 vaccine looks positive so far, according to its maker.
The big question that we have to answer, that everybody wants the answer to, is does that mean people will then be protected if they take this vaccine? And we don't know the answer to that.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, says no vaccine is 100% effective, but it could help get the crisis under control.
I think as we get into the year of 2021, the companies who are involved in making the vaccines promise that we'll have many doses, to the tune of a couple of 100 million.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thank you. The World Health Organization says there are 23 potential COVID-19 vaccines in the human testing process right now. Congressman Tom Reed says that stimulus money is likely to be introduced in a nearly $1.5 trillion congressional stimulus package. We asked for his thoughts on another package during his weekly media conference yesterday. The Corning Republican says the package should highlight the efforts of American workers during this pandemic.
What we've advocated for is that the stimulus benefits go directly to the American workers, that workers who have showed up through the crisis deserve a bonus, in my humble opinion. This is not only just our heroes of our healthcare workers, but the people that showed up at the convenience stores, at our grocery stores. What I've been advocating and trying to push with the administration and with our Senate colleagues is we're going to do stimulus. Let's give it to the American worker and have them use those monies that they've earned in regards to stimulating the economy and making their lives a little bit better off.
Now, the congressman previously co-sponsored a bipartisan bill called the Rewarding American Workers Act as part of an effort to reward American workers. That bill, however, is currently at a standstill in the House Ways and Means Committee. Well, 24 years, runners and others have gathered to jog or walk to raise awareness about people with developmental disabilities here in Jamestown. The annual Laurel Run continued this morning in a different form than usual, but went on nevertheless. Steve Watson, the Community Relations Director for the Resource Center, says the run raises much needed awareness about opportunities for people with disabilities.
But people with disabilities still don't have the same opportunities as everybody else to enjoy everything that society has to offer. So Laurel Run kind of helps to raise awareness about the potential that exists within people with disabilities and kind of reinforce the message that they can accomplish some tremendous things if they're given the opportunity.
Now, the Laurel Run began with Wayne Hotling when he jogged and bicycled 400 miles across the state to raise awareness after being inspired by his daughter Laurel, who was born with Down syndrome in 1963. Certainly a great sight to see, and amazing to see that it continues now even amid the COVID-19 pandemic and gathering restrictions that everybody faces. Hopefully you're having a great day, and we thank you so much for joining us here for WNY News Now as we round out another week, and certainly it was a busy time for many yesterday, and we were alerted to some severe storms that moved across our areas, but it looks like for the foreseeable future things are quieting down and getting back to the beautiful Western New York weather that we're all used to. Speaking of that weather, let's get a check of it now with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, Justin, and things are going to be calming down for at least a little bit, but it's going to be turning hot and humid. Hey, tonight is going to be another chance to see the Neowise comet, so if you haven't been able to see it, tonight is going to be a great night for it with lots of sky, with basically lots of clear skies. Look to the northwest, basically just about 45 minutes after sunset time tonight, which is coming up at around 8:50. The days are getting shorter, guys. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. But look to the northwest. You should be able to see this. Now, it'll likely be able to be seen from the naked eye, but it's going to start getting fainter. So if you want to see this thing, binoculars, telescopes are best. You might be able to see this with the naked eye, but get out and take a look at the Neowise comet tonight if you have the ability, just a little after sunset time tonight. So nice and quiet this afternoon. Here comes more heat and more humidity as well. We can turn that into a song because it's almost like a broken record. We've been saying it a lot recently. We get the, we get the heat and the humidity, then we get the cool down, then it comes back again, and that's going to be the case here. Pop-up afternoon showers and storms will be likely throughout much of next week, again with the humidity fueling that. 74 at noon hour right now, north a wind of 9, and the dew point up to 61, but it's going to be creeping up there today and tomorrow, and especially through the weekend. So let's talk about it here. These are the forecast heat indices. This is the apparent feels like temperature when you combine the air temperature and the humidity together. So the peak heat index today probably around 83. Saturday 86. Sunday will likely be the peak of the heat. Will likely be up in the upper 80s with feels like temperatures close to the mid 90s once again. Not sure if we'll get a heat advisory again. We'll see what the Weather Service will do with that. And then it'll stay warm and muggy throughout much of early and mid next week. Weekend weather, let's talk about it here. Let's break it down in a little bit more detail here. So Saturday, 86 degrees. All in all, not a bad day with lots of sunshine, but it's going to be much more humid. So take that into consideration. Then as we go into Sunday, you can see our forecast high, 88 degrees. The sun is going to rule across much of the area. There will be a small chance of an inland shower or storm, especially popping up in the afternoon due to the high humidity. Otherwise, just hot and steamy with temperatures upper 80s. Some lower 90s are possible in spots. First Defense Doppler radar got a nice workout yesterday. it's got showing clear skies today and nothing really showing up here. And again, notice all these lightning strikes. This is actually going to stay south of us. So we're clear for now, and it's going to stay that way throughout much of the weekend. But again, next week, pop-up showers and storms coming our way again. So temperatures this afternoon, likely lower 80s in spots here, maybe a few upper 70s depending on your actual locality here. Quite humid with a good supply of sunshine. Now presented in high definition. The next 7 days of your life on planet Earth. 86 tomorrow, 88 on Sunday. We talked about the weekend. If we stay warm and humid throughout much of next week, we do cool off a little bit going into late next week, but Monday through Wednesday, chance for pop-up afternoon showers and storms. We will take a break and be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. A Jamestown church is offering free masks and sanitizer along with fresh produce to the general public as a way of helping people during the COVID-19 pandemic. Kayla Lopez of the Doors of Heaven Church tells us that the church sees people's needs and wants to help whenever it can, including the mask and food giveaway. The giveaway will be tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. while supplies last in the church's parking lot at 338 Falconer Street.
We have around 500 cases of produce that was actually donated from James DiSerenio in Buffalo, New York. We also have a couple hundred masks, also the same quantity with sanitizers. We have around 100 cases of water that are going to be given out.
And again, she thanks her sponsors for giving to this event and reminds everyone everything that is being given away will be offered free to the public. So she urges everybody to stop by. Certainly another great reason that we call this home and that we always see people come together, especially during times of need, and this is no different. So if you can help out their event or get into it, we certainly encourage that. Well, we thank you all so much for joining us here for WNY News Now as we round out another week, and it was a pretty exciting couple of 12 hours here. Got to say hello to Howard. Good to see Anna, Shar, Amanda, and Matthew. And I want to bring Dakota on if we can. I know you don't always see the comments during the live, and I don't think we have enough time to read the whole comment, but Matthew says that he really was unsure about our weather and our production before yesterday, but when he saw the professionalism of Dakota and the rest of our weather staff keeping everybody in the know, he just wants to thank you so much for your hard work, and I'm right with you, Matt, because if it wasn't for Dakota's leadership and I think and our team, and a lot of us now are working remotely, which actually makes it pretty difficult. I don't think people realize, Dakota, but yesterday during the storm, Dakota was in here during the second wave with the storm that came through Falconer, Randolph, and then far eastern to Cattaraugus County. by himself. You had a producer on remotely who at times had to call you to talk to you because he couldn't talk to you through the IFB system that doesn't quite work. So I just want to give you all the grace and kudos for all the hard work that you do, because you do an amazing job. And really yesterday it was about keeping people informed. Thank God the storms weren't as bad as they could have been, but we don't know that in the moment. And I think that's the importance of it. So I just want to thank you, Dakota. And you're great to have, a great resource, and I think only going to get better as we go on.
Part of our job is to, protect life and property, and, we're going to do whatever we need to do, and, we're going to do whatever we need to do to obviously keep you informed. And, if you were watching our coverage last night, I was hopping off the wall, heading into the weather office because I was the only one here. So I had to man the radar. I had to watch the Weather Service chats and try to manage social media and stay up here on the wall. So, I mean, it was a rat race. I definitely got my exercise in for the day. I think I completely shattered my move goal, move goal on my Apple Watch because I was going around so much. But anyway, it's all part of the job. That's what we do here. Tonight, if you want to get out and take a look at the Neo-East Comet, great night for that. Lots of clear skies tonight, 60 to 67, not quite as humid as it was, but the humidity comes back over the weekend and into early next week.
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. All you got to do is search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. We leave you with a shot over downtown Jamestown. Absolutely beautiful out there now. If you can, get out and enjoy it. We're back here Monday. Hope to see you then.